Today I'm going to talk about the importance of painting in series and how to paint in series. So the importance of painting in series is to have a body of work which is cohesive, so that you as an artist, you can be remembered for a particular style, voice, or point of view. And this is what really differentiates artists that are amateur and artists that are professional, because a lot of the amateur artists, they're painting different subjects and there's a mix of techniques, a mix of different subjects. So in the end, you don't really know what that artist is about. It's quite confusing. As an artist, you have to think of yourself as a brand and start to think of a cohesive way to show your work. You can even go and explore different subject matters. You need to have a cohesive body of work so that people really get what you are all about. So I'm going to give myself as an example. I paint in natural pigments. So all of my paintings, they're using natural paints that I make with flowers, different rocks, and also some other mystical things such as tears and prayers. I also paint the heroine's journey. So I paint the archetypes of the divine feminine. As you can see here behind me, I have Artemis, I have Gaia, I have Iris, I have Eve and Selene. So for example, in exhibitions, I have a body of work that tells a story. It's all very cohesive. People are not gonna all of a sudden see me painting abstract art or, I don't know, in acrylics or oils, even though I did do that in the past, but it was a part of my evolution as an artist, now that I know what my voice and my art style is all about. So tip number one, to paint in series, think of a theme that you would like to tell a story about. Like I mentioned, my theme is the heroine's journey, so I tell all of these different stories that are archetypes from myth, and also, as you can see, I have the Selkie here, the siren, which is also another archetype of the heroine's journey. So to explore this idea of picking a theme, think of yourself as a speaker for TED Talk and try to create an imaginary TED Talk in your mind, or you can write it down, you can journal about it. And so for example, if I were to give a TED Talk, I would give a TED Talk on the importance of the heroine's journey, because women are not experiencing the heroine's journey anymore, they're experiencing the hero's journey, but this we'll talk about another time. This is just the theme that I am exploring in my paintings. It has something to say, it's not just decor. So think of what you can say in a TED Talk. Maybe you are a landscape artist, and so you can talk about the Gaia theory of James Lovelock, how everything in nature is a system and everything is interconnected. You can bring that into your landscape art paintings and so on. Think of that TED Talk that you could give about subjects that you are so passionate about, that you have read throughout the years, you have geeked out on, and by creating this imaginary TED Talk that you can journal, you can already start thinking about multiple paintings for that series, for that story that you are telling in your imaginary TED Talk. So tip number two, now that you have thought of your theme, I would like to invite you to start thinking about colors as a theme. So for me, for example, as you can see, my paintings, they have a color theme as well. So I'm painting here with these natural earth pigments from my area here in the south of France. So I live here in the south of France, a region which is famous for fleur de pastel, which is a special flower that is yellow and the dye turns into blue, which has been used traditionally to dye different clothes and also for painting the shutters of all of the French houses. As we see, traditionally all of the houses here in the south of France have blue shutters. So I have been working with these different pigments from my region, which have given a cohesive look to my paintings in general. So think of different color palettes that you can use. You can also go to Pinterest and research different color palettes. You can put warm colors or cool colors. You can type coastal color palettes or autumn color palettes, which you can relate to the theme that you have created for your imaginary TED Talk. So let's say that, for example, in this imaginary TED Talk, you want to talk about landscapes and Gaia theory. You can think of ways that you want to express these landscapes. If you want to use bold colors or if you want to use more neutral, muted colors, this is going to be your point of view, which is going to decide how do you see it, how do you envision this, how you think you can best convey and transmit this message to your audience, to the people who you're here to serve. So now you have thought of your theme and your color palette. Now let's go to tip number 3. So tip number 3 is that you're going to now create a story for your series. Think of a story that you can easily paint within the theme. So again, I'm going to give an example of my work. I paint moments of the heroine's journey where it seems like the main character, that archetype, is having a mystical experience. Because for me, this is something really important about the heroine's journey, because the heroine's journey is all about going within, looking within, and having exactly that mystical experience. So all of my paintings, they do tell a story. So think about the story of the theme that you have decided on. Think of all of the painters that have done this in the past. Some of them painted a lot of mythological stories, some painted biblical stories with important moments such as crucifixion or the last feast. So to make this an easy exercise for you, think of your TED Talk and try to create an illustration for each point that you're covering in that TED Talk to tell a story. And if that TED Talk became a graphic novel, how would you tell that story? Through the paintings. And what are the highlights of that story that you can easily represent in a painting? So that's it. That was a short and sweet explanation on how to paint in series. These are the tips that have helped me in my journey as an artist. And I would like to hear from you if you found that these tips were helpful, or if you have any other tips that you find that have helped you in your journey as an artist. So thank you very much for spending this time with me. I would love to ask you to hit subscribe, as this helps my small channel a lot. And that's it for today.